What if there is a pattern, a specific, repeated, unmistakable pattern that God has used before every single major breakthrough in the Bible? Not a coincidence, not a random series of events, a pattern. And what if the thing you are going through right now, the darkness, the confusion, the impossible waiting, is actually step one of that pattern playing out in your life? Stay with me, because when you see this clearly, I mean really see it, you will read your current situation completely differently. And that shift in perspective may be the most powerful thing that happens to you today. You are in a before, and the before is hard. Not because you've done something wrong, not because God has stepped away, but because before always feels like this. Formless, dark, disorienting, directionless. You can feel that something is supposed to happen. There is a sense deep in your spirit that God has something significant ahead. But right now, right where you're standing, all you can see is what isn't working, what isn't forming, what hasn't arrived yet. And the before has a way of lying to you. It tells you that what you see right now is what the story will always look like. It tells you that the darkness is the destination, not a doorway. It whispers that if God were really at work, things would look different by now. Things would be further along. There would be more evidence of movement, more signs of progress, more confirmation that the promise is real. And so you question, you second guess, you start to wonder whether you are in a divine process or whether you simply missed it somewhere and are now wandering in a direction that leads nowhere. But here is what the Bible wants to show you today. The pattern of your current situation is not new. God has been here before, with some of the most significant people in history, and the before always came right before the breakthrough. Always. Go all the way back to the very beginning. Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Before creation, before light, before life, before anything that existed. The Bible describes the state of things in these words. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The universe, before it became the universe, was formless, empty, and dark. And the very next verse, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The most extraordinary creative breakthrough in all of history, the very existence of everything, was preceded by formlessness, emptiness, and darkness. That was not a design flaw. That was the design. Because God doesn't begin with perfection, He begins with potential. He doesn't start with the finished product. He starts with the raw material. And the raw material almost always looks like nothing before it becomes something. And what was God doing in the darkness before He spoke? Verse 2 says, "The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." In the Hebrew, that word moved carries the idea of hovering, brooding, being actively, intentionally, carefully present over something that hasn't taken shape yet. God was not absent in the void. He was over it, watching it, moving over it, preparing to speak into it. Here is the hidden pattern that runs through the entire Bible like a thread. Darkness, then light. Prison, then palace. Wilderness, then promised land. The cross, then resurrection. And it is not random. It is the signature move of a God who consistently allows things to reach a point of impossibility before He demonstrates what only He can do. Look at Joseph, thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Each new level of the story looks worse than the last. And Genesis 39 verse 21 says, right in the middle of the prison, "But the Lord was with Joseph and shewed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison." The Lord was with Joseph in the prison, not after the prison, not waiting at the gate for when Joseph got out. In it, present, active, positioning. And what came out of Joseph's prison? Not just freedom, a throne, the second most powerful position in the greatest empire on earth. The prison was not a detour from the destiny. The prison was the path to the destiny. The darkness produced the promotion.
And then look at Moses, 40 years in the wilderness of Midian. A man who once had everything, now tending someone else's sheep in a forgotten place. 40 years. And then Deuteronomy 8 verse 2 tells us what God was doing in that wilderness all along. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart. To humble, to prove, to know what was in the heart. God was not wasting those 40 years. He was reading Moses, preparing him, building in him the kind of meekness and dependence that a man who is going to lead 2 million people absolutely had to have. The wilderness was not punishment, it was curriculum. And this is the one that should stop you completely, Jesus himself. Before the healings, before the miracles, before Lazarus came out of the tomb, before 5,000 were fed, before the disciples were sent into all the world. Matthew 4 verse 1. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, led by the Spirit, not pushed by the enemy, not abandoned by the Father, led by the Spirit into the wilderness. 40 days, hunger, darkness, testing. And when he came out, Luke chapter 4 says he returned in the power of the Spirit. He went in led, he came out powered. The wilderness did not weaken his ministry. The wilderness fueled it. Write these down and say them over your current season. The darkness before your breakthrough is not the absence of God. It is the presence of God, hovering over what he is about to speak into. Joseph's prison was never his destination. It was his preparation. And what God prepares, he always promotes. And hear this clearly. Every major move of God in the Bible began with a season that looked like nothing was happening. You are in that season right now, and what comes next will match the pattern.
I want you to go back to Genesis 1 one more time, and this time I want you to feel something. Before God said, "Let there be light," there was no evidence that light was coming. There was no sign, no glimmer on the horizon, no progressive brightening that would indicate a sunrise was approaching. Just darkness, complete, total, absolute darkness. And then, with a single word, everything changed. One word from God, and what was dark became luminous. What was formless became a universe. What was void became life. God has never needed much time to change everything. He has never needed ideal conditions to create something extraordinary. He has never required you to have it together before he moves. He has always operated from the place of void and darkness and impossibility, because that is where his glory is most unmistakably his own. And Paul understood this pattern more deeply than almost any writer in the New Testament. A man who had experienced pit after pit, prison after prison, shipwreck after abandonment. He writes in 2 Corinthians 4, verse 17, from a place of hard-won, tested understanding. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Worketh, present tense. The affliction is currently producing something, not eventually producing, not maybe producing. Right now, in this moment of before, it is working. It is manufacturing an eternal weight of glory that will outweigh, outlast, and outshine every moment of darkness that preceded it.
The void before creation became a universe. The pit and prison before Joseph became a palace. The wilderness before Moses became the Exodus. The 40 days of temptation before Jesus became the most powerful public ministry in human history. And the darkness you are in right now, this before that feels like nothing, is working right now in the unseen places. The Spirit of Barat is moving over the face of your waters. So here is what I want to leave you with today. The next time you look at your situation and all you see is void and darkness, I want you to remember Genesis 1:2. Not because it is a nice verse, but because it is a pattern
a divine signature, an unmistakable mark that the God who is present in the darkness before creation is present in your darkness right now. And he is not confused about what comes next. He is not worried about the state of things. He is hovering over your life, intentionally, actively, with full knowledge of what he is about to speak. And the word that he speaks into your void will be just as powerful as the word he spoke in the beginning. Before the light, there was darkness. Before your breakthrough, there is this. And this is exactly where God starts. Don't run from the before. Don't try to force an early ending to the pattern. Stay in position. Let the Spirit hover. Because when God speaks into a void, nothing can stop what he creates. If this message gave you a new way to see your current season, drop a comment below. Just say, "The Spirit is hovering over my life." That is a declaration of faith over the before you are standing in. And if this channel has been bringing truth to your journey, subscribe and stay close. Every single week, we return to the Word and find our way back to unshakable hope. The pattern is in motion. The light is coming. And what God is about to create, it will be worth every moment of this.